And welcome to the video lecture, associated keyword. And distinct keyword will get rid of duplicated values. Now the duplicated values are for the entire record. It's not just one value. Depending on how many columns you pick up, the distinct keyword works on all of the columns. So again, I'm going to open up a query. I have my close my show table dialog box, switch to SQL view, and I'm back to my select statement. I'm going to use the order line table as my example here, only because if I look at the order IDs, I definitely have repeated order IDs in here. So I have different product IDs, I have different order IDs, and I have different order quantities. So you can see that order ID appears numerous times. So if I do something like this, if I select order ID from order line underscore T, all right, if I run that, did I misspell that? Odor. I love it. Order line T. I run that, I get a nice list, but the list has duplicated values. So if you look at the SQL, the question that I'm actually asking is, I want to see a list of the order IDs that have been used in the order line table. And if that's the case, I can use the distinct keyword. So if I go back to SQL view, I just slip that in right after the select keyword. So now I just want a distinct list of the order IDs that appear in order line. When I run that, I get a much smaller list. I only get 10 instead of 18. All right. You'll notice that order ID 1001 only appears once, along with the rest of the order IDs. So it will get me a distinct list based on the order ID. Now, the trick is, depending on how many columns you're using, distinct can get messed up. So for instance, we look at this, I've got two records on order 1001 that have a product quantity of 2. And I have one that has a product quantity of 1. So if I add in ordered, oh, I knew I spelled it wrong. Ordered quantity, and I run that, I'm going to get a lot more records. But see, now I only get 2 associated with order ID 1000. That's because what it did was it got rid of the second record that would have been 1001 and order quantity 2. So you see how that works? And obviously, or I hope this should be obvious, that if I used all of the columns, so I brought in product ID, okay, and I run this, now all 18 come back, right? Because there would never be a reason, remember this is an associative entity, there would never be a reason to have an order ID associated with a product ID with the same order quantity repeated twice in this table. It's nonsensical. So depending on the columns that you use when you're using the distinct keyword, you will get fewer and fewer or more and more records depending on how many columns that you use. And that is the end of my video lecture on using the distinct keyword.